So I'm going to start off with two stories. Please remember those stories, and then I will discuss Introduction to Vishnu Sahastranama and one of the names of Lord Vishnu, which is connected to the two stories that I am going to tell you, and then you can link them yourself. The story goes as follows. The first one is there's a village in South India, and there was an old lady, not educated, but quite old, and she would always sit in the front porch of her hut, the toothless woman. And then people would come to her with problems, family problems, any other kind of problems they had. The beauty of that old lady was she was a very patient listener. After listening to what the people had to say, she would give them advice. And they seemed to be happy, and life went on as usual. In that village, also, there was a young boy who was ambitious, who wanted to get education. So he left the village, went to a nearby town, and got his education. And he would visit the village periodically during the holidays. And then one day he thought to himself, why is it that all the people are going to this old lady who has no education? What kind of an advice can she give? Why don't they come to me? I've gone to the city and I know the city life and I've had education, so I'm well educated and I can give them better advice than the old lady. This sort of bothered him a lot. So one day, when he was coming back to the village from the city, he thought to himself, I will test the old lady to make sure that she is as wise as people in the village think she is. So he caught hold of a little bird and hid it in his hands. And he went to the old lady, and she was sitting as usual on the front porch. And she said, oh, you're back from the city. Welcome. How are you doing? How is your health? How is everything going? Very, very, uh, very earnestly, she asked him this question. Then the young boy said to her, oh lady, I've got a problem. I wonder if you can solve it for me. And she said, well, I will try. I cannot guarantee I know the answer, but I'll try. Then the man said, I have a little bird in my hand, in my fist. Can you tell me if it's alive or dead? And the young man thought, if she says the bird is dead, I'm just going to open up my palm and the bird will fly away and she is wrong. If she says the bird is alive, I'm going to tightly close the fist around the bird so the bird dies and then show her the dead bird. So either way, I'm going to win. There's no way that she can win this contest. And so I'll prove once and for all that I am much better than she is. So he asked her, old lady, can you tell me, is the bird in my hand dead or alive? The old lady looked at him with sympathetic eyes, with a small smile on her toothless face. She said, young man, the answer to your question is in your own hands. The answer to your question is in your own hands. So that's the first story. The second story is a remarkable poem written by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, The Theologian's Tale, The Legend of the Beautiful. It Tales from a Wayward. It's a beautiful, beautiful poem. If you ever have time, you should read the whole poem. The story goes like this. There was a monk in a monastery, and he would sit in his cell every morning and pray to the Lord, earnestly pray, requesting him to forgive all the sins that he has committed and to show him the way for a useful, fruitful life. One of his duties was to feed the poor and the destitute at noontime, and they would all gather in front of the iron gate of the monastery, and he would go at noon and to serve food to the beggar's bowl every day at noontime. One day, when he was sitting and praying, he suddenly saw a vision. Let me just read you how beautifully Longfellow has written. Suddenly, as if it lightened, an unwonted splendor brightened, all within him and without him in that narrow cell of stone, and he saw the blessed vision of our Lord with light Elysian, like a vesture wrapped about him, like a garment round him thrown. So he saw that vision, and he was mesmerized, he was rapt, and he just sat there watching the vision of the Lord. Suddenly he heard clamor, the din, the noise. It was past noon, and the people waiting for food were clamoring for food. They were banging their pots and pans on the iron gate of the monastery. When he heard that, he suddenly woke up, and then he heard a voice which said, "Do thy duty that is best, leave unto thy Lord the rest. Do thy duty that is best, and leave unto thy Lord the rest." Suddenly he woke up and he said, "Well, I must go and then feed the people waiting outside for food." And again he heard an inward voice which said, "Whatsoever thing thou doest, to the least of mine and lowest, that thou doest unto me." So serving the poor and the destitute is the same as serving the Lord. There's another inner voice said. So he went to the front gate, and the people were waiting and waiting and waiting. He served them the food, and then he returned to his cell. Coming back, he thought to himself, is the vision still going to be there? Should I have stayed? Should I have left? It was bothering him. When he came, to his surprise, he saw the vision was still there. And then he heard a voice which said, hadn't thou stayed? If you had stayed, I would have left. If you had stayed, I would have left. So the two things that for you to remember is, do thy duty that is best, leave unto the Lord the rest. And the second one is, serving the poor, the destitute, and the homeless is service to the Lord. You remember those two and the story of the young man in the village. I'll come back to them after I deal with Vishnu Sahastranama. Vishnu Sahastranama is one of the Sahastranamas. Vishnu Sahastranama is a very beautiful hymn that anybody can chant at home. And the story is, this comes to the Anushasana Parva of Mahabharata, towards the end of the Vyasa's epic Mahabharata. And the war is over. Bhishma Pitamaha is sleeping on a bed of arrows that was created for him by Arjuna. Lord Krishna was there too. And Yudhishthira was very distraught. He was very troubled. Pandavas had won the war. Kauravas had lost the war. And then he asked himself, what does winning a war mean? I see the entire country in ruins. I see tens of thousands of horses and elephants dead. I see tens of thousands of soldiers, brave soldiers dead, leaving behind orphan children and wailing widows. If this is what winning a war means, I should have known before. If I had known this, I probably would never have gone into war and agreed to whatever peace terms the Kauravas were willing to give me. So I was very troubled. I was standing there. The beauty of the Vishnu Sahastranama is there are other Sahastranamas too. Lalita Sahastranama was quite popular, Ganapati Sahastranama, Shiva Sahastranama. But among all of them, Vishnu Sahastranama is more popular. That was the first Adi Shankaracharya has written many commentaries on Upanishads and many other scriptures. But the very first commentary that he wrote was in Vishnu Sahastranama, a very special significance. And it is heard all over the more popular in South India. In most of the homes, you hear Vishnu Sahastranama, either people singing or playing a record of M.S. Subbulakshmi, which is very popular. In our own house, my wife, after taking a bath in the morning, turns on the stereo, and there goes Vishnu Sahastranama. And it's also a very interesting hymn to learn, because when you take a walk in the house, I usually chant Vishnu Sahasranama and also chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, which is Bhakti Yoga. And the combination of the two takes about 35 to 40 minutes, and that's a pretty good walk for me, an old man inside the house. So it has salutary advantages to me. Secondly, remembering and chanting Vishnu Sahasranama, I hope it is a preventative measure for dementia. So I hope my memory improves is quite good at that time. About 25 years ago, with the blessings of Lord Krishna, I started writing notes on Vishnu Sahasranama. It took me about 2 years to complete it, working about a couple of hours every morning and gathering my thoughts and putting them on paper. After I completed that, I ran to about 400 pages. 2 years later, I took it to the temple, and the chief priest, Murli Bhatter, offered it to at the feet of Lord Varadaraja Swami and offered prayers. And then I made a copy and gave it to Dr. Sane, who, after a couple of weeks, told me that he enjoyed looking through it and it's very well done. And he blessed me. And he has always been on my side in thick and thin. So I'm very grateful to Dr. Sane for all the encouragement that he has given me all these years. So when Yudhishthira then mused, having heard of all the dharmas in their entirety and all other purification acts exhaustively, Yudhishthira said to the son of Shantanu, which is Bhishma, again, up to this point, Yudhishthira had heard all the nuances of dharma, Varna dharma, Ashrama dharma, Pravritti dharma, Nivritti dharma, Raja dharma, etc. He had heard about the various rites that are needed to achieve different results, and these were not easy to practice. He recognized that to realize the self, the effort involved would be even greater. Was there a dharma that encompassed all dharmas and that was easy to follow? But he had not heard of such a dharma. Dharma means that which covers all codes of conduct. Now, the discourse will be about a dharma that is conducive to the realization of the self. The dharma fulfills all the purusharthas, easy to practice, does not take a great deal of effort, and provides the maximum benefit. Yudhishthira had not heard of such kind of a dharma, and hence the questions to follow. So he asked Bhishma Pitamaha the following questions. He has 6 questions, and they are: who is the one supreme deity according to the Shastras? Question number 2, what is the one supreme goal? By invoking whom and by worshipping whom do people attain prosperity, liberation? What is the best of all dharmas in your considered view? And lastly, by chanting which mantra is a person released from the bonds of birth and samsara? So these are the 6 questions that Yudhishthira posed to Bhishma. And Bhishma answered, the Lord of the world, Jagat Prabhum Deva Devam Anantam Purushottamam Suvannama Sahasrena Purushaha Satatotitaha. The Lord of the world, the God of Devas, the infinite, the supreme person, by praising him constantly by means of his 1,000 names, a person is always uplifted and crosses the ocean of samsara, ocean of sorrow, Mrityu samsara sagarat. And by worshipping him alone, Vishnu, constantly with devotion, the imperishable person, by meditation on him, by praising him, and by prostrating to him alone, the worshipper, the aspirant, is freed from all sorrow. Tvameva chartayam nityam yat bhaktya purusham avyam dhyayan stuvan namasyamcha yajamanaste mevacha. And then it continues, Anadi Nidhanam Vishnum Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Lokadyaksham Suvannityam Sarva Dukkadigo Bhavet. Having neither beginning nor end, Vishnu, the all-pervading, the great Lord of all the worlds, the witness of the world, by constantly chanting his name, one can pass beyond all sorrows. And then it continues, Brahmanyam Sarvadharmagnam Lokanam Kirtivardhanam Lokanatham Mahadbhutam Sarvabhuta Bhavotbhavam. The cognizer, bearing testimony to all that is going on in all the worlds, the one to be cognized through the Vedas, the knower of all dharmas, the enhancer of the fame of men, the Lord of the world, the Great One, the source of evolution of all, worshipping him, one can overcome all sorrows. And then it continues, Yeshame sarva dharmana dharmo dikatamo mataha yad bhaktya pundarikaksham stavayrakshe narasada. This, I think, is the most excellent dharma of all the dharmas, that with devotion, a man should always glorify the lotus-eyed Lord by chants. Chanting this divine name is better than any other form of worship. In chanting, there is no need for great exertion, finding the right place, the right time, material means, etc. Chanting the divine name is available to all. It is easy and does not require special accessories. It is available to all, regardless of varna, ashrama. All that is needed is devotion and faith in the heart and purity of mind, bhavana shuddhi. So as Dr. Sane has emphasized many, many times, that it's important when you study the scriptures to have faith, shraddha, and bhakti, devotion. Shraddha is a belief in what the scriptures say is true and what is going to come out of the phala or the fruit of reading the scriptures is going to happen. You must have that belief. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Secondly, you must have devotion. Devotion means intense faith towards your Ishtadevata, whatever that Ishtadevata may be. So concentrating on the Ishtadevata with bhakti, with shraddha, if you study Vishnu Sahastranama, the Parashruti will come true. That is what the scripture says. That's what Bhishma tells Yudhishthira. So that's Bhishma tells all of us too, that we derive the benefit of reciting the Vishnu Sahastranama as long as we have faith, shraddha, as long as we have bhakti, which is devotion. So shraddha is connected to listening to the shramana, listening to the scriptures, and bhakti is connected to manana, which is meditating or contemplating on what you have just heard and resolving all the doubts that you might arise in your mind. So Vishnu Sahastranama, in that sense, is a very popular hymn that people chant because they do believe that the benefits that are given in Vishnu Sahastranama are really true. For example, it says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Bhagam Naivopachariti. One will not fear Janma and Mrityu, that all the phases in between, the birth, the growth, the disease, decay, and death. None of that is going to provide you with any sorrow or fear as long as you chant the Vishnu Sahastranama regularly with Shraddha and with Bhakti. By meditating on him, worshipping him, and remembering him, you will remove all sins and all binding dharmas that lead to rebirth and the ignorance about the true nature of the self. It's another benefit of chanting Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra. We have three kinds of karmas. The prarabdha karma, which is what we are undergoing now in this current life. And then we have the previous karmas and the future karmas, agami karmas and sanchita karmas. Chanting Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra, the scripture says, you burn up all the sanchita karmas and all the agami karmas, and you will be able to handle the prarabdha karma, which is what you're undergoing right now, with bravery, without any fear, without any sorrow. And hopefully, at the end of this particular life, if everything has gone right, then all the prarabdha karma has been exhausted, since there is no previous karma to exhaust and the future karma to exhaust. Your life is free. You're free from the bondage of birth and death, and you are liberated. You go to Vaikuntha. That's the belief. That's the message of Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra. He is the supreme great light, Bhishma says. He is supreme great ruler. He is the supreme great Brahman. He is highest goal and the most exalted refuge. Listen to his 1,000 names regarding the ultimate goal. That Brahman is at once the nimitta karana, the intelligent cause, and the upadana karana, which is the material cause. And he is the operative cause of the universe, and he is the tree, he is the director, he is the forest, he is everything that is in the creation. Of the chief of the world, of the Lord of the universe, O King Yudhishthira, of Vishnu, hear from me the 1,000 names which removes all sin and fear. Every first Sunday of every month at the temple, there is a Abhishekam for Lord Varadaraja Swami. So after the ceremonial bath, the priest closes the curtain and they go inside for the Alankara, Abharana and Alankara, putting on new clothes, new Abharanas, and also new flowers. This usually takes about 35 to 40 minutes at the temple, first Sunday of every month. During the 40 minutes, what should the devotees do? Just hang around there? No. Anandi comes in there with a melodious voice, starts chanting Vishnu Sahastranama for everybody else to follow. It starts with Shuklam Varadaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Yasya Dvirada Vakradya Parishadya Parashatam Vignam Nighranti Satatam Vishwaksenam Tamashtraye Vyasam Vasishtanaptaram Shakte Pautrimakalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Shukatatam Taponidhim Vyasaya Vishnurupaaya Vyasarupaya Vishnave Namo Vai Brahmanitaye Vasishtaya Namo Namaha Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadaika Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Prabha Vishnave Om Namo Vishnave Prabha Vishnave. So she continues on chanting, and several people in the audience know Vishnu Sahastranama, so they silently chant. So in order not to interfere with the melodious singing, chanting from Anandi. And people who do not have the knowledge of Vishnu Sahastranama, there are translations available in English, Hindi, Marathi, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu. And so they pick one of those books from at the temple and follow the chanting. At the end of the chanting, 35 to 40 minutes, the curtain opens and the inner sanctorium is dark. Only there's an oil lamp that is lighted. And the priest takes the oil lamp and goes clockwise, the murti from the feet to the head, goes up and down, up and down, up and down. And then the light comes on. And that's a sight to behold. As soon as the light comes on, you see the beautiful murti, Varadaraja Swami, in new clothes, new ornaments, new flowers, it almost feels like crying. It's just beautiful, beautiful to see. And you can see all the devotees, some of them with their hands folded, offering silent prayers, others with their eyes open, wondering at the beauty they see in front of them. And this is a sight that you have to experience at least once. So if you haven't gone to the temple, make it a point to go at least the first Sunday of any month when the Varadaraja Swami Abhishekam takes place, and then you can see the splendor of Vishnu, and also you can hear the chanting of Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra. And the temple also, they chant Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra in the evening. So if you happen to be at the temple in the evening, about 6 o'clock or so, then you can hear the priest chanting Vishnu Sahastranama. So that is the essence of the Sahasranama Stotras. There are 1,000 names. You might ask, why 1,000? Well, it could be 10,000, it could be 10 million, because every name is Vishnu's name. The whole of creation is Vishnu. He is not only the potency of the Vishnu is right there in the creation itself. He is also omniscient. By Vishnu, it means one who pervades the entire universe is Vishnu. Vishnu is also called Vishwam. Vishwam, Vishnur, Vashatkaro, Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, Bhuta Krit Bhuta Bhidbhavu, Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha. So he is not only the creator, he also pervades the entire creation. So everything that you see has a spark of divine inside. This is what Dr. Sane has been emphasizing. It is in the tree, it's in the stone, it's in the animal, it's in the human being, it's in a man, it's in a woman, it's in a child, and everything that you see is a spark of God. And in some, there's a consciousness that evolves to the extent that you can actually feel the spark of God. In some other inert items like stone, even though the spark of God is there, it is not manifest. So in the right circumstances, the consciousness within you, which is the Atman, manifests itself so you can experience it. And what do I mean by the right circumstances? What do I mean by manifest? Take an example. If you want to make instant coffee, you can take a cup of cold water and put a spoon of instant coffee. Nothing happens. It just sits there. It won't dissolve. But if you put it in the hot water, it instantly dissolves, and then you can smell the aroma of the coffee. So you need the right circumstance for it to blossom out, for it to come out. Even for Atmajnana, or self-realization, or realizing Vishnu, which is in your own heart, you need the right atmosphere, you need the right conditions. The right conditions are given. Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampat, all of those preliminaries that you have to go through. And then you have the Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And then during the deep contemplation, the scriptures say that you experience silence, that the deep silence that you experience is the experience of the inner self, which is Satchidananda Swarupa. So that is the final goal. How many people have achieved this? I don't know. How many people are trying it? I'm sure millions of people have tried to appreciate the self that they experience the self that is within them. But in all of these, the scriptures emphasize it's better to have a guru who directs you on the right path, because you don't want to go on the wrong path and not derive any benefit. The benefit of the guru is to, or listening to the discourses given here by Dr. Sane, Dr. Rambhushan, and so on. You're put on the right path to achieve the final result. And one of the names that of Vishnu that comes in Vishnu Sahastranama is Prasannatma. Prasannatma is another name that comes in. What does Prasannatma mean? Blissful. Vishnu is very blissful. The name Prasanna means Te Stitaha Atmani Prasannaha. One who is well established in the self is Prasanna. That's my name. One who is well established in the self. Another name, another interpretation of that is is a sthita prajna. As a man well versed, Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. That's a very daunting task for me. I cannot live up to my name because if I have to live up to my name, true to my name, I should be a sthita prajna, which I am not. So I try very, very hard every day, every moment of my life to be as ethical and moral as possible so that hopefully at the end I would have lived up to the name or I would eat it to the Lord. It's not in my hand. But that's the burden that I have to, that is the burden that I have to carry all through my life. One of the names that I'm going to discuss today is Aprameya. Vidata Dhatu Ritamaha. Vidata means the one who dispenses the fruits of action. One who dispenses the fruits of action. He is the Karma Phaladata. He is the originator of the laws of the universe. As we are endowed with free will, we can choose our actions. But to every action of ours, there is attached a consequence. If the actions violate his laws, then he will present us with the appropriate fruit. He does not punish us or reward us. Rather, it is we who earn our own punishments and our own rewards. This mantra helps us to appreciate the nature of the Lord and assists us in making wise choices in our daily life. Remembering Vishnu puts a brake on our misguided thoughts and the resultant actions. So he is the one, Karma Paladata. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Karmanyavadi karaste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalayatu durbuhu ma te sango swakarmani. Krishna tells Arjuna, Arjuna, you have jurisdiction over your actions, but you do not have complete jurisdiction over the results. The results are coming as comes from prasad. One of the examples that is given is when you shoot an arrow at your target, until the arrow is released from the bow, you have complete control over your action. Once the arrow is released, then you don't have control over it. It could be a gust of wind that blows the arrow off course. It could be one of many things. So you may miss the target or you may hit the target. It's not up to you. It's a Daiva Kripa. So to achieve anything in life, we need sadhana Kripa, our own effort. Without your own effort, nothing is going to happen. We all know that. Then you need Guru Kripa. You need the blessings of the teacher or the grace of the teacher. And we have very many teachers all through our lives, our parents, our friends, our regular teachers, gurus. So many of them have helped us in being what we are today. And finally, we need Daiva Kripa, or the divine grace. Without Daiva Kripa, nothing is going to happen in the end. So all the three efforts are important. And so here it says, he is the Karma Phaladata. You do your work. You do the best you can. And as Bhagavad Gita says, Kshetra Dharma Kuru. In whatever field of action that you are in, do the action, follow the dharma of that particular field. If you're in the medical field, there's a certain action that you perform. Your job is to take care of the patients and make them well. And there's also dharma in the medical field. And from what I have heard, it is called Hippocratic Oath, I think. One of them is do no harm. That is, when the patient comes with the disease, try to alleviate the disease and not make it worse, not make the medicine worse than the disease. If you're in the teaching field, there's a certain dharma that you have to follow. So whatever kshetra that you are in, you have to follow the dharma of that particular kshetra, and that is your duty. Do thy duty. That is your duty. Do thy duty and leave unto the Lord the rest. Do thy duty that is best and leave unto the Lord the rest, as the poem says. So it is our responsibility, as Vishnu Sahastranama says, to do our job to the best of our ability, not skimping, not reluctantly, but with enthusiasm, with full force behind it, complete your job to the best of your ability, and leave the result to the Lord. That is the essence of Karma Yoga too. As Dr. Sane has explained in the Bhagavad Gita, the first one is called Ishwar Arpana Buddhi, offering all of your actions to the Lord. I am doing all of this at your behest. This is my responsibility, and I'll carry it out to the best of my effort, offer it to you. And then Prasada Buddhi. Whatever result comes out, I will accept it as your prasad, as your blessing, as your grace. So the result might be to my liking, it might not be to my liking, or I may be indifferent to the result. But whatever the result might be, I will accept it with faith, with humility as prasad from you. Just as when we go to the temple, we offer fruits and flowers to the Lord, called Naivedya. At the end of the puja, the priest gives you back the fruit, and that is prasad. You might have taken apples to the temple, and the priest may give you back a banana, which is different from what you took. But you accept the banana as prasada from Lord, and then you put it to your eyes, and then you share it with the people around you. So that's the idea. The idea being that be humble in whatever you do, and then Vishnu Sahastranama guarantees that if you are humble, if you're sincere in what you do, offer everything as a service to the Lord, accept the result as a prasad from Lord, your life will be easy. Your mind will not be in conflict. There won't be likes and dislikes to disturb your mind, and you're all set to achieve the final result, which is moksha, which is liberation even while living. But that's the essence of what this word Vedanta says. So it has in it the karma yoga, it has in it the spirit in which we have to offer our services to the Lord, the spirit in which we have to accept the result as it comes as a prasad from Lord. Once we have this understanding, and once we put that into practice, which is not easy many times, very many times we want to take credit for what we do. There's nothing wrong with that. If we achieve something, if people praise it, that's fine, accept it. If people don't pay any attention to it, that's fine, accept it. But don't pretend, not having done anything, to claim ownership or authorship for something is not right. So ethical and moral living is the essence of many of all of our scriptures. And here, Vedanta, it says here, one of the important things in your life is how you conduct yourself, how do you use your free will in the best possible way. And that is Ishvara Arpana Buddhi and Prasada Buddhi. So he is accept the Lord as the Karma Phaladata. So there are many other names, many other things I can talk about, which will take probably, I started out about 20 years ago in the old temple on Polk Street, discussing the Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra from the beginning. And we took maybe a few months, and then we sidetracked and we went back to teaching Bhagavad Gita again. If there's an opportunity, read the Vishnu Sahastranama Stotra, and I'll continue to chant them because I have Shraddha in it and I have Bhakti in it, and so I'll continue to do so. It's important for us to do. It helps you overcome many of the ups and downs in life. It really helps you. That's my belief, and that's my experience. I'll stop here, and then you can relate now very easily the two stories I told you. The answer is in your own hands. And the meaning there being that you have many choices in your life, and what particular choice you choose it could be a good choice, could be a bad choice, and maybe you don't know. And then you consult with the Shastra, you consult with learned people, and you choose the best course of action. So as the old woman said, the answer is in your own hands. And secondly, do thy duty that is best, leave unto thy Lord the rest. Service to the poor and the destitute is service to the Lord. That is again covered by Vedanta. That is karma phaladata. So you perform your duty and do that duty that is best and leave unto the Lord the rest. So those are the two stories that connect to this particular Naivedata. And in my notes, I don't know if people can see it, which runs to about 400 pages. Arun, can people see this? Almost every name has a story attached to it. I have not written all the stories for every name, but interspersed, there are many, many stories taken from the literature, from our scriptures. And there's another Dayamati story, there's the Vishwamitra story. So the number of other stories, Indra's story, there's a story about Ahalya, there's a story about Swaha Devi. When we say Swaha, when you offer the oblation during the Homa, the story of Swaha Devi and how it relates to one of the names of Lord Vishnu. So 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu is a fertile ground for examining the many truisms given in our scriptures. I'll stop here and then I will invite you to question, answer. If I'm able to answer, I will. So I'll leave it open for discussion. Shashi?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Prasanna, very well done. I could see how much you enjoyed starting the discussion on Vishnu Sahastranama. You also implied that you didn't complete the entire work. You were kind enough to share it with me and Lord Varadaraja at the temple. So what I'm hearing from you is you'll continue coming back and telling us some more stories in the coming few months, right?
No, I didn't say that.
That's what I heard. Everybody else heard too.
No.
Well, you are the blind answer.
It used to be a cakewalk for me in the past, but now with age catching up with me, and with the laziness that has come about, I'm quite slow in almost everything now, and can't sleep very well, and so it's if I make a commitment, I have to honor the commitment.
No, you don't make a regular commitment. Every once in a while, I'll pick on you.
Every once in a while, I'll tell you, I'll go through the notes again and pick up a couple of stories that are of interest to us, and then I'll let you know, and then perhaps we'll discuss that one or two verses connected with the story. I like stories.
That's good.
I remember stories. I don't remember the philosophy so much, but I do remember the stories, and the stories will jog my memory.
That's good. You absolutely enjoyed it. I think you continued talking about Shraddha and Bhakti, talking with Shramana and Manana. And as we'll continue discussing in the coming Sundays on Kaivalya Upanishad, the third part, as we discussed briefly the last session, was Nididhyasana. Yes. And in that process, what happens really, Prasanna, we'll discuss in detail later, is more like a churning of your ego against the knowledge. So that's where it continues further. So Shraddha and Bhakti is really churned through the mind, through the guidance of the teacher and the one's individual's mind, where the ego gradually goes away. When you're doing the Vishnu Sahastranama, you really described this morning, in between the chants, names of Vishnu they're talking about, there's a gap in between. But you know the next word that's going to come because you have sung it thousands of times. That brief moment of silence is exactly where divinity is. That's where you're directly connected at that particular time. So that quietude is the Brahman. That's your true nature. And last but not the least, because I do want to have other people to make a comment, they're going to come back. If you remember the first prayer we started with, Vishuklambara Dharam Vishnum Shashi Varnam Chaturbhujanam Prasanna Vadanam Dhyaye. Okay, so lead off is basically what our community we are lucky to be blessed with the community. So I think
Both Shashi and Prasanna are there.
Okay. So I thought it was well done. A lot of other things I can comment, but I want to get more questions from the community and go from there on. One last thing I will make a comment, and then somebody else come back, is frequently people get confused about Vishnu Sahastranama is a prayer to only one part of divinity, Vishnu. Though Shri Krishna tells Vidura, is I'm only one, and I do all the actions of creation, maintenance, sustenance, and resolution for recycling. But based upon my activities, people call me by different names. That's the description in Puranas to Vidura by Shri Krishna. What I'm trying to say is when you say Vishnu Sahasranam, the name may be of Vishnu's, but again, all the things are there. In that regard, if you see the name of Shiva appears twice, 27th and 600 words, Shambhu, Ishan, Rudra, all these names are there as a part of Shiva itself.
Yes.
And I think last but not the least is if you start the first verse of Saundarya Lahari, written by Shankaracharya, praising Goddess Saraswati and Parvati, Goddess Shakti. That time, the first he says, the Lord Shiva takes the speck of dirt from the feet of the goddess Parvati and applies it to his forehead, which energizes him to continue his good activities. So the first person you pray to is Matru Devabhava. So even though we talk about male, 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 Saudara Lahiri basically starts recognizing that without that energy coming from feminine source of Parvati, Shankara cannot start his work. So it's important to remember in our prayers, we may take a particular deity's name, but the people like you who understand the subject matter recognize the name may be that, but in reality, you're seeing the entire spectrum of divinity, what we call Brahman, through different names. So thanks again. Well done. Thank you. I think I'd shared with you, Prasanna, in our society where we like everything instant, remember?
Yeah.
So there is a discussion to that effect when Parvati has been addressed by Lord Shiva. It is in the Shiva Purana, and his name on his mouth is name of Rama all the time. There was a mutual respect with Rama and Shiva. So he says basically the last verse of Ram Raksha is Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tatulyam Rama Namam Varanane. She's addressing to Parvati, beautiful face Varanane. Shiva is telling that if you want to do one name and get the merit for 1,000 names of Ram, Vishnu, so Sahasranama Tatulyam, Ramanama Varanana.
Yeah.
So if you want to take the merit for 1,000 names of Vishnu, just take the name of Rama.
Yeah.
And you got the great, because everything society is, you want everything instant. So I'm just reminding people that Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, the 12-lettered words.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. The 12-month mantra. It's very
exactly.
Actually, Krishna himself tells Sanjaya, so mekena shlokena sita yevana samshaya. You don't have to recite all the 1,000 names, all the entire thing. Even one shloka is enough. Yep. And Shiva made it even better. Don't even worry about one shloka. Just remember one name, Rama. Ti Rama, Jai Rama, Jai Jai Rama. Again, as I said, all of these things work if you have the faith and bhakti. That's important. Shraddha and bhakti are important. When you have that, all of these things will give you the same benefits. I think what my take on this is, what they do is it sort of keeps your mind away from all the distractions so that you can focus on a higher ideal than all the other muck things that are going on in your mind. You're able to focus better. The last prayer.
Okay, go ahead.
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.